What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Serie career mode. It is episode number 22. We are back. It is a brand new season, our fourth year at Udinese getting underway with a starting budget of 54 million. Really? 54 million euros after getting Udinese into the Champions League. That is incredibly low. I was thinking like 80 to 90 million euros. That's a tough one to work with, that. Yeah, that's a tough one, that. That's a small budget when you think about the fact that it's 2026 now. Granted, inflation within career mode doesn't continue, but even so, you go back, 6-7 years ago, 50 million euros would get you a lot more than it does get you now. So that's a tough one now. You see some of our loan players have returned here. We're going to need to improve the squad then, for sure, if we're going to be competitive in the Champions League. And most importantly, my main aim this year, forget Europe, my main aim is staying in the top four in the Serie, not dropping outside the Champions League places, and hopefully going to our first cup final to save. And the board have said, well, for the league objective, the same thing. They don't want to drop outside the top four in, wow, quarterfinals of the Champions League, guys. If you want me to do that, give me some more money. Those are two very tough objectives. Coppa Italia, we can reach the last 8 for sure. Last year we got there before being knocked out by Juve. Oh no, that was the last 16. Sorry, we were one round before that. But even so, tough objectives there on that small budget. With this, let's be honest here, mediocre team. So as we'll run through the squad together, you see Fatos retains his potential to be special. Okay, there's going to be a few contract issues which we'll definitely have to sort out within this summer. But again, it's an average team. It's gotten better. It's 4.5 star now. Don't get me wrong, but we're still quite a way off, I would say, from being ready to battle for a title. Last season, it is true, with about 10 games to go, we were only 6 points behind, but we never really believed we were in a title race. Let's be honest, we never really believed that. As Novak's come back with the exciting prospect tag, and Georgie retains his potential to be special, as does Simone as well. So 3 potential to be special players here. You'd love to see it. But we are a young team. We are a developing team. We've got great potential on some of our players as well. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. Oh, I might recall Oman, 79 overall now. There's no doubt about it. We are going to need some investment if we are to keep us in the top 4, because we did well to make it last year, but we only did it with 2 games to go. Courtesy of Juve drawing back-to-back and slipping up. Had they not had those slip-ups, we might not have made it. So, yeah, no doubt about it, we will need some investment. But as for new contracts, well, I'll definitely give the kids some new deals. Casadei, Esposito, and Fiore, I think I'll give all 3 of those new deals. As for Mercado, the Chilean, I'm not too sure. And big decisions on Lovric, Zamora, and Matheus Martins as well. I might look to cash in on all 3 of them in this summer window. I'm just not sure now they're going to be here long term if we want to stay in the Champions League. Got to be ruthless here. Now, one thing we definitely are going to do in this window as well is continue our trend of being quite realistic in terms of trying to meet European squad registration rules. You can see a lot of players I've been scouting here in the summer are players that came through the Udinese Academy or were signed at an early age. Now, I get asked oftentimes, Doxy boy, how do I make the game more fun? Like, how do I make it more enjoyable, more realistic, more immersive, and so on? And this is genuinely one of my number 1 tips to make the game more enjoyable. When a team qualifies for a European competition, that would be Champions League, Europa League, or Conference League, when they're doing their squad registration for the tournament, they have to include in their 25-man squad 4 players that are technically what you call homegrown and trained by the club. Now, that means they were trained between the ages at the club of 15 to 21. So it means that if they signed a player at a young enough age, then that could still count if they came in at 18 and were there for 3 consecutive years. And it's something that I really do believe is a great way to make the game more immersive, again, more realistic, but also restrictive and challenging as well. And if a club doesn't have 4 of those homegrown trained trained at the club players, then they have to leave a squad spot vacant, if you will. Now, Udinese, as we know, they've brought in some great young players over the years and developed them, but not all of them would count. However, a few would. Definitely those ones that came in at an early enough age, be it 18 or under, or just came through the academy in general. And one of those players that was signed at an early age, or we talked about him last year, is Piotr Zielinski, the Polish central midfielder. And last season we considered bringing him back, but I said, playing in Monaco right now, would he want to go and join what was an Udinese side in the mid-table in the Serie A? Probably not. But now we're a Champions League team, a chance to bring him back to the Serie A, where before moving on to Monaco in this save, spent an entire career. I think now is the perfect time. 32 means a senior, a leader for those younger players, and we should be able to get him for undervaluation due to the fact he's out of contract at the end of the season. Let's bring him in. It really is my number one tip. Well, maybe not number one tip, but it's definitely up there. As a recommendation on how to make the game more fun. It's just a really simple kind of like rule to implement, you know, and it makes the game really, really realistic and more immersive as well. And again, whilst you don't have to, there is no registration rule in career mode. There is one in Football Manager. If you play that game, you'll know that. And I think it's a really fun way to, again, make the game a little bit more challenging, but also fun and realistic too. They want a straight swap with Querfeld. I don't think so. But unfortunately for you guys, I don't think I need to spend much more than 20 million euros. Okay, they say 22.3 plus a 5% sell-on clause. Chances are we wouldn't sell him again anyway, but I'm still going to remove it. Try and get him down to 21 million euros. It's under the valuation. And as a 32-year-old, yep, okay, he's a senior, but we said this is a youthful Udinese side. We'd like a couple of seniors in the dressing room. Who better than Zielinski? Yeah, you don't have to implement this rule if you don't want to. You can be a little bit flexible with it as well and just sign anyone that perhaps signed under the age of 21. Really, the choice is yours, but I do recommend it if you want to make the game, again, a little bit more challenging and restrictive, but also immersive, realistic, and in my opinion, a lot more fun as well. If you watch me play FM, you'll know I've really got a thing for bringing back those homegrown, trained by the club or trained in the nation players, and Zielinski meets the former after signing from Poland at a young age. Yet he came to DNA as a 17-year-old, and whilst in the save and moved on to Monaco, before that he spent his entire pro career playing in Italy, and now he's back in the Serie A and back at the Blue Energy Stadium. Welcome back to Udinese, Peter Zielinski. And again, 32 years old and coming in. Okay, fair enough. He's not going to get much better, but he's not going to go down for at least a year or two, I'd say. And when you look at the stats here, he's got pace, great agility, solid balance, but also excellent technical ability too. An excellent dribbler of the ball. He can shoot from range, tremendous ball control, and a great passer with a 5-star weak foot as well. This is the perfect man to mentor Georgi Gashi. Absolutely love it. Zielinski back at the Blue Energy Stadium. So we'll pop him on the bench in place of Lovric, who again is probably going to get sold anyway. Whether he starts or not, I mean, it feels a bit silly signing a player for a club record fee but not starting him. But if he was going to take anyone's place, it would be Keita. I mean, Prati, no, he's my best DLP, and I love this guy. You know, and again, I think Keita really is the only place where he could probably take someone's place here. But then again, I don't really want to stunt the Belgians' development, so I don't know about Zielinski. I'll have to think about that. But I do need to make sure I give him enough game time. But even so, he returned. So right now, for those curious on the homegrown players we've got to train at the club, again, they have to be trained at the club, and anyone that's 21 or older is eligible. Anyone under that doesn't need to be registered. So, for example, you might say, well, what about the Gash twins, the Gash bros? Well, they don't need to be registered because they're under the age of 21, and that includes Simone Buffon, though during the year I think he will turn 21. So, yeah, for the players like Gashi and Novak, you might say, oh, you've got tons of homegrown and trained at the club players then. Well, no, because when they're under the age of 21, they don't need to be registered for a European squad selection. So, yeah, so the players we've got now are Zielinski, that's one. Then we've got between the sticks, Perizan, that's two. And that's it. So no one else technically, unfortunately, counts. We're still 2 off. Again, I think Buffon turns 21 during the year, but I still think we're going to need 2 more. So our budget now down to 30 million euros, and again we are going to need at least one more homegrown trained player, if not two. FC Cologne want to take one of our youngsters, Casade, but no, I don't mind loaning him back out, but I'm not going to sell him. Again, we are probably going to sell Zamura, Lovric, and probably Matthias Martins too. So I'll wait for some bids. Okay, there we go. I was going to say I'll wait for some bids to come in for those three, and there we go. Monza want to take Fabrizio Esposito on loan. Yep, totally fine with that. Now that we've brought back Zielinski, he's not going to start here. But it's Bournemouth that want to take Lovric, and oh wow, it's not a bad bid, that 14.2 mil, and that will make up about 2/3 of what we spent on Zielinski, who's 4 ratings higher as well. So actually, that's not a bad bit of business. We get a little bit more money out there from Areola. 15.5 mil, no. Probably not. We might still get a little bit more. Let's go 15 million euros. Every penny's going to count. Working with a small budget. But I don't want to walk out, so I'll say fair enough. 14.6 million for Lovric. Oh, by the way, Damiano shows great potential. And as for Rosario, he also shows great potential. So going to add them both to the loan list and try and get them loaned out once again. Once again, we do need to make sure we've got enough depth here going into Europe for the first time ever. But hopefully we should be all right. And if need be, I can obviously recall a couple of players as well. Oh yeah, I want to do this real quick. Octavia Marine. Do you remember when I said in the last, was it the last episode or one of the last episodes, that this guy, 50 overall, yes, but it's because he's not a striker? Just check this out. Bang. Up 15 ratings just through that position change alone. It is one of my biggest tips for you, Scan. When you see a player with a low overall, the potential is more important than the overall to me. You know, this guy's like DJ 2.0. For those who watched the Cologne career mode, we had the exact same problem. Found a young striker. He was so lowly rated, but the potential was great. Problem was, he should be a centre-half, not a striker. So, yeah, we're converting to CB. And is anyone, can I get anyone out of the academy for the new season to possibly loan out here? Is anyone 18? Not yet. Might possibly promote Dennis Müller. But the academy's looking absolutely fantastic, man. But this guy, the absolute best, Leandro Schneider, 90 to 94 potential. I might go ahead and release Bianchi now that we've got better players. But this dude looks literally unbelievable. The 80 pace already too. Oh, this guy's an absolute gem. There's another bid comes in for Lovric, this time from Las Palmas, 15 million. So that's actually more than Bournemouth's bid. So fingers crossed he'll go to Spain instead. Yeah, I think we'll need to sell 1 or 2 players, and he's turned down Bournemouth. Looks as though he is on his way to Spain. I think we'll sell 1 or 2 players again, probably Lovric and Matthias Martins first, and then once we've got the money there, we'll look to reinvest. Once again, 1 or 2 more. I'd say at least 1, but probably 2 more homegrown trained to club players, and then if we've got any money left over, we'll look for some other targets. And there we go, Lovric goes to Las Palmas, so we'll take a bit of money for the Slovenian midfielder. And to be fair to Lovric as well, I did like him, don't get me wrong, since we arrived here. He was a really handy player, especially in Season 1, but now we brought Zielinski back. He was just never getting any game time, so it was best to let him go on a permanent deal, and we get the money for him. Following that, as we'll see as well, Matthias Martins is wanted by Salernitana, 7.1 mil. Sassuolo want to take Fiore out on loan as well, so we're getting some game time there. And I really like Matthias, I really do, and I wouldn't be against keeping him, but again, because we've got some great youngsters in this position, both out on loan and obviously you're in the academy right now, like we alluded to a moment ago, we were there with Schneider. It's probably best just to cash in on the Brazilian, as he's not going to get that much game time this season either, and out of contract at the end of the season, so hopefully we'll get a little bit more than market valuation. We might have to settle for around 7.25 million max, but maybe 8 million if we're lucky. No, do you know what, I'll take it. 7.7 mil for the Brazilian going to Salernitana. And so, as we see a couple more deals, Monza have loaned Esposito, so we'll keep our eyes on him now. I swear Monza have loaned like 3 or 4 of our youngsters now. You'd love to see it. And there we go, Matthias Martins is off to Salerno as well to join Salernitana for 7.7 mil. Totally fine with that. I really like him as a young player, I must say. Out of the Fluminense Academy, obviously spent time on loan with Watford, but unfortunately here, out of contract coming the end of the season. Likely it is he wasn't going to play enough really to justify his salary, so totally fine cashing in and getting a bit of money for the Brazilian. So our budget now 47 million euros. Again, I do want to sign at least 1 more player that's homegrown and trained by the club, if not 2. But really what I'd like to do is just sign players that won't really cost us much money at all, unlike Zielinski, because that way we'll still have a lot of money to invest in our players. The one I really want is Mattia Compagnon. He was a local lad who was born in Udine before moving on to Juventus, now at Ferro Pisalo, but unfortunately can't get him right now due to a lack of depth. But there's other options. There's other options here, but yeah, I'm not going to rush into signing anyone just yet. But if we can't get him, I'll just sign another couple of these players here just to fill out the quota, if you will. So another loan offer looks as though it's going to go through. Damiano to FC Porto on a couple of years as well. And once I've got this done, I say this often, like when I start a new season, what I like to do first is get my own house in order before I bring other pieces in. Granted, I broke the rule by bringing back Zielinski, but even so, I want to get these players out on loan first, then I'll make the new signings. And there we go, Fiore and Casadei both agree 2-year loans, so we'll keep our eyes on the youngsters there and see how they get on. Right now, to be fair, the loans are working quite well for us. Let's keep that going. But following that, we do have a bit for Christensen. Aruka want to take our Dane. 77 rated. I don't know how much better he's going to get now. And he is obviously 4th choice in our team. I'm not against letting him go, but we will need to replace him if that's the case. Let's try and get a bit more than that. 15 to 16 mil, because again, I don't mind selling a squad player, but because of the lack of depth and going into Europe, we'll need to make sure we've got enough money to bring in a replacement for him. 16 mil from Aruka, will they meet that? No, 14 million. Let's try and meet somewhere in the middle, or a little bit over the middle. 15.5 million for the Dane. No, come on guys, a little bit more if you can. Really would appreciate it. Don't have a light amount of depth there, and in the end they say no. To be fair, he's a good squad player, and at 6'6", I like his height too, so yeah, I'm not going to sell him unless I get a really decent amount of money for him. And funny enough, Lazio want to take our Chilean winger on a permanent deal, 4.25 million for him. I quite like him, to be fair, but not against letting him go, just for a little bit more money. So again, we still do need to bring in 1 or 2 players. And I still really want this guy who we missed out on a couple of years ago. But if we were going to go for someone, I must say, he's probably slightly out of our price range right now. But we might just about be able to afford it. It's Riccardo Calafiori, who literally would be perfect in our system playing 3 at the back. He's a left-footed centre-half at 6'2", with tremendous jumping and strength. You know how important that is to us. And he's got 88 for short pass as well. Villarreal are a Europa League side. We're a Champions League side. And this guy returning to the Serie A would fit our system like a glove. The question is, will we have enough money for him? I'm going to go for it. What we might have to do is possibly include a player in the deal in order to get him. But of course, really our options are limited now. We could give them Zamora, to be fair. He's out of contract at the end of the season. But I do like him as the backup for Oscar Dorley. Then again, thinking about it, I probably should have accepted that bid from Aruka, because if we were to get this guy, he'd be 5th choice now, Christensen. Behind Querfel, Pongracic, and also Xhaka as well. So I probably should have just accepted that deal there. Okay, in that case, I'll try and swap him. 10.5 mil, plus let's go 29 mil. So that's going to be about 6 mil over the market valuation combined with the Dane. And well, to be fair, they're okay with that. And because the tension bar's barely filled up, this actually might end up being a blessing in disguise that we turn down that bid from Aruka. I'm not going to budge then. In that case, I'm going to say 29 mil plus Christensen. He's a good Dane, don't get me wrong, but Calafiori is a much better player. Same age, a few ratings higher, and also perfect for our system as well. Let's bring him in. Yes, he might not be homegrown and trained by the club, but he is trained in the nation. After coming through the AS Roma Academy, born in Rome, he moved to Switzerland for a year before coming back to Bologna. So it's safe to say this guy has a history of a one and done outside of his home country. Yeah, he's back in Italy once again, this time joining Udinese, and I've got to say, for the deal too, 29 mil plus what would have been a 5th choice centre-half. I think this is a fantastic signing here for a player that's been linked to some big European powerhouses in real life this summer. So welcome back to Italy, welcome to Udine, and welcome to the Blue Energy Stadium. Riccardo Calafiori, 24 years old, and again, just perfect for the system, really, you know, because with Xhaka, Pongracic and Querfeld as our three centre-halves, I mean, this guy coming in, 24 years old, means he's one of the younger of the centre-halves I just mentioned there. And when you look at the stats too, the physicality is really what draws me to him. But you can't deny that 88 short pass is a massive, massive bonus when playing out from the back as well. 92 jumping, 89 strength. He's going to be a menace from set piece, but most importantly, a left footer passing out from the back here. This is a brilliant sign. I prefer this one to the Zielinski deal. It's brilliant. Yeah, really wanted a left footer in our back three, and now we've got one as he'll take Pongracic's place. And as we just real quickly take a look at the World Cup as well. Sometimes I forget to show this when the new season begins, but for those curious on the World Cup in 2026, man, I'm so excited for it. I mean, the Euros haven't even ended in real life, but I'm already thinking about the World Cup in a couple of years. I can't wait, man. It was a really interesting World Cup, I must say, with the teams that made the last 16 and beyond. In the end, Norway were knocked out by Belgium in the semis, whilst Italy beat England, and in the final, well, it's safe to say that Riccardo Calafiori is having a great summer. He's just put pen to paper on a big move here at the Blue Angel Stadium and helped Italy win the World Cup as well. So they beat Belgium 3-1 in the final. Prati was also part of the starting 11 as well, which is really cool. You'd love to see that. So our budget now down to 17.5 million. Again, I do want to bring in one or two more homegrown trainer to club players. The one I really want is Mattia Campagnon, but unfortunately, just can't get him right now, so I might have to look for other targets in that regard. And as for Lazio wanting our Chilean winger, I'd like to keep him for the squad, to be honest, because we haven't really got enough depth here. So I haven't actually given him a new contract yet, but I'm going to say to Lazio, I'm sorry, but right now, you know, we're going into Europe for this season. Granted, we've been very lucky with the lack of injuries throughout the save, but yeah, I can't afford to have any fewer bodies in our team, just in case. Fair, now that we've sold Matthews Martins as well, I might possibly recall the lad at Wolves, who I must say has grown brilliantly there. We talked about certain players just not growing at all, DeLuca. But this guy, oh my goodness, up to 79 overall. I don't want to stunt his growth by bringing him back, but with the 89 dribbling and the 94 agility, 96 ball control. I'd love to bring this guy back, man. Only problem is, he's not going to start in this team with Profundi at CAM, and of course we like the wingers to be able to defend this guy. Can't. So actually, it might be better just to leave him there. We still got money in the budget. But again, what I want to do now is bring in a couple of those homegrown players. I'm waiting for Farrell Pisala to let me get this guy. He's the one I want to bring back. To be fair, we could try and bring in a new fifth choice centre-half with Axel Gessan likely to leave. He wasn't signed early enough for him to be a homegrown player, so I might add him to the transfer list. And to be fair, there are a couple of players that were through the Udinese Academy and have now gone out. Max Ryan Thaler is one of them, not quite Marco Ryan Thaler, but even so, would still plug the gap as a fifth choice. Or Luca Magnino, who's moved on to Ross County, 76 strength, he's 6'1", and his defensive stats aren't terrible, 71 short passes, an emergency cover centre-half. I might try and convert him there. I do not know how he's ended up at Ross County, but there you go, one of those bizarre career mode transfers. I wonder if we can do a little switchy here. We'll give them one of our youngsters, and we can take their more senior DM. They don't want him, fair enough, but we'll take him for around the valuation. We'll just try and convert him into a new fifth choice. Okay, fair enough. Emergency cover centre-half. And again, homegrown, trained at the club, came through the youth system, so yeah, meets the criteria as well. That'll be just one more to go after this. Yes, I certainly wouldn't read too much into this. Literally just here for emergency cover to fill out the squad and also meet the criteria as well. Luca Magnino returns to Udinese, where he came through the academy with as a youngster. And to be honest here, I've basically just told him, you're not going to play much this season, you're just here to help me fill out the criteria. Welcome back regardless, Luca. And again, to be fair, with the stats, to be fair, he's a squad player. 70 overall, it's not that bad. He's versatile. Granted, I mean, he's only really here to make up the numbers, but to be honest here, he's actually not that bad, all things considered. So we'll try and convert him to CV as a fifth choice here. Even so, to be fair, he's not that bad. So I'll be honest, the last player I really want is this guy, Mattia Compagnon, but unfortunately can't get him for now. We've got until the end of the window to bring in that fourth player regardless. So yeah, plenty of time. But again, there's other options. If I can't get him, I don't mind getting someone else. I do quite like, to be fair, this goalkeeper. Looking him up, I'm not sure if he would actually count though, because of the fact he only spent 1 year at Udinese. And again, this is where it's kind of up to you. If you want to be a little bit relaxed in the rules, you could just say anyone that spent a year in Udinese, as you set up, might be enough. It's kind of up to you, really. Oh, whoa, they've come back. AC Milan have come back. Marin Pongracic. 31 million euros. I said last season on deadline day, you left it too late. This time, they've given me a month to mull this over. Oh, that's a big offer, that. Problem is, I really like him. And even though he would probably be dropping to the bench now with the signing of Ricardo, I still might end up benching Querfeld. I'm not too sure. But I mean, I'd really like to keep them both here. He's not happy about the contract. I wonder if I could say to Marine, listen, you've had 2 years here. You've been brilliant for us. We don't want to see you go. How about if we double your wages, you can turn down Milan and stay here. We're a Champions League side now, Marine. Just like AC Milan, yes, but we are a Champions League side too. How about that? If we can double your wages, or even put you on even more than double, around 35 to 40 grand a week, would you decide to stay? I think you want important, he does indeed. So in that case, I might have to start him at a Querfeld this season, but yeah, if we can get him to agree at, he doesn't even want an extension, can't 1 year. Just put an extra 1 year on there. If we can agree this guy to go on over double the wages, I think that'll be fair. He says 23 grand a week. I'm going to say Marine instead. How about this? For your loyalty, for your service, and to turn down AC Milan over double the wages, and I'll give you a nice little sign-on bonus of 10% as well. How about that? You deserve it for the loyalty. This is how we're going to keep him here and deter the interest from big clubs. Another tip I like to give, man, to make the game more realistic and challenging and immersive too, to keep your players happy and deter the interest, give them more money. That's the bottom line. At the end of the day, Marine stays. Guys, yesterday he signed a new contract. Yesterday. Yesterday. I'm not going to double it again. It's not double or nothing day after day, guys. Honestly, he literally just signed a new deal. For me, one thing I always say is that when a player signs a new contract, I think personally, they should be off limit for transfers. If not for a whole season, then at least for a window. I mean, I can't remember a time ever, as Minnesota want to take Axel to the MLS, I can't remember a time ever when a player signed a contract and then left in the same transfer window. I can think of players that signed a new deal around January time, then left in the summer, but I can't remember anyone. If anyone can give me an example, please do so in the comments, but I can't remember a time where anyone signed a new contract and then left. Well, in this case, it would have been a day afterwards. Marine's so good, though. I'm a big fan of his, so he's going to be staying right here. So an academy update then, as you can see, 7 players in the youth team right now, and to be fair, it's a stacked academy. Absolutely brilliant. And that's why I think for this year, because of the amount of youngsters we've got out on loan right now, because of the amount of youngsters that have come through the academy and are still in the academy as well, I think we're going to have a gap year. I tend to take a gap year in my career modes, 1 year off youth scouting to clear the backlog, if you will. And in that case, because of the great young talents here in the academy, and also they've got pro deals and are out on loan right now as well, we're going to take a gap year. Although what I might do is promote Leandro Schneider and loan him out. I'm a little bit worried he'll ask for a pro deal at the end of the season and then he'll lose that potential. We know he'll have potential to be special. We know he's one of the best young players there is right now at the academy. So we'll loan him out and we'll see how he gets on elsewhere. Can I get Compagnon? Yeah. Oh, come on, Ferro Pasalo. Let me take him. He's the one I want, honestly. He's the one I want here, seriously. Oh my goodness gracious me. Another bid coming in for Mercado, this time from Leverkusen. I need to make sure I've got enough depth here, that's the thing. And granted, I haven't given him a contract. Do you know what? If a European powerhouse comes in, like a Real Madrid, for example, I might let him go. But I suppose it would be fitting if it was Barcelona, wouldn't it, after Alexis Sanchez? But until then, we'll say no. But that's Gessan gone, and that shows you why I wanted that player coming in from Ross County as an emergency cover at 5th choice. Got to make sure we got the depth here to cope with playing in Europe this season. Yeah, I mean, really, we're only one homegrown trained at club player away from hitting the 4 now. So, yeah, we only need the 1. And I can wait until till deadline day and see if I can get Compagnon from Ferrol Passalo. Unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to happen. So I'll probably have to look elsewhere. Again, I could sign Pizignaco. Technically, I don't think he would count. But again, I guess because, you know, it's career mode, don't even need to worry about it, really. I guess we can relax the rules a little bit. But I guess we'll see. As Cardiff want to take Leandro Schneider to South Wales, trying to make him the next alpha male. Getting him young, the alpha boy, if you will. But yeah, I think what we'll do as well is we'll play the AC Milan game, play the first game of the season, and then we'll end the episode after that, leaving there 2 weeks on the transfer window to possibly bring in 1 or 2 more signings. Yep, there we go. That's Leandro Schneider out on loan to Cardiff for a couple of years. Hopefully he'll develop the same way that Oman has at Wolves there, and develops his game brilliantly. So we'll keep an eye on him as well. Again, just looking at the team right now, you know, so many young players out on loan. It's hilarious. I don't think we really need to worry about the first 11 anymore. You know, we've added to the quality with the signings of Ricardo and also Pietro coming back from Monaco as well. And he might even start in the team, to be fair. We're still undecided about that. It's really, again, just a squad depth. That's the only thing. The past 3 years, we didn't need to worry about it because we weren't in Europe. But, of course, this year we are. So that's the only concern, really. I wouldn't mind a new squad striker, possibly a new third-choice goalkeeper, because you and I always like to have 3. And possibly a new squad kind of like left mid as well. Well, then again, we've got Zamora. I don't know. But, yeah, I think from now on, with the money we've got, limited budget, it's probably going to be like 2 or 3 players coming in just for the squad. Yep, let's go. First game of the season. AC Milan away at the San Siro. And if we do want to be in the top 4 just like last season, these are the games where wins would be absolutely priceless. Let's see if we can start the season off with the 3 points. Calafiori will make his debut and Zielinski will come off the bench at some point, I'm sure. Forza Udinese. Yeah, I think that looking at the team, it's going to be hard to get Zielinski in without compromising on the shape. Because after last season, you know, Gashi reconverting to CM, not going to drop him, or Profundi, both with potential to be special. Oh, well done, Calafiori. And I really like Keita and Prati, either side of Georgie as well. So tough one for Zielinski. Club record signing, massive contract. Lovely build-up this, by the way. Oh! Oh, it should have been a brilliant goal. Wonderful build-up, completely fluffed the finish. Yeah, club record signing, massive contract, but I don't know how to get him in the team, really. Lucio goes for goal. Oh, Gashi, great save. As Fatos turns behind. You see there in the top left, you might have just called it a debut to remember. Every single year, one of your youth academy prospects always gets that tag. Oh, it's their debut. It's not. Fatos has been our number 1 since the first season. Even so, still 0-0, and whilst to get a win in this game would be priceless, I'll take a point, especially away from home, against a fellow Champions League team. Ishmael Benacer going for goal, good block by Georgie, and his bro applauding that as we're still deadlocked here. Again, a win would be massive on match day 1, but I wouldn't be against a point either. Oh, what a goal! But sometimes there's just nothing you can do about a goal you can see. Noah Okafor has just scored a contender for goal this season in the first half of the first game. What can you do about that? Floated into the near post, overhead kick on 2 players, and it just sails over Fatos, who, to be fair, probably should have stood his ground. Even so, Milan in front, glorious technique, and down right before the break. Udinese finishing in the top 4 again. Yeah, tough ask, even if we did do it last season. There's Georgie, gets it right a second time of asking. Instant response. I've given him a first team number this year, going from 18 to 10. And he's just moved and finished like a pure 10 would as well. Receives the offload, drills it in. Udinese with the instant response. Good game this as well, really fun contest. I guess the question in the second half is stick or twist. take a good point at the San Siro on match day 1, or try and go for the win. Both teams have played well. There's definitely another goal to come, and there it is. Turned in by a new gen. Stevens converting from close range. Milan back in front. I swear, that face though, that face, I swear I see that face on the new gen more than practically any other. It's so, I don't know, common. You see it all the time on new gens. Half an hour in, still down by 1. As we look for the leveller. Prati floats one in. Oh, and Xhaka almost getting his first of the year. Only 3 last season for the cheat code. I want him to try and get a few more this season. Doesn't need to get to the 10 like he did back in season 2, but yeah, I want 6 from him this year. Double the goals from last season. I must say, this has been a really fun opening day here. Sometimes the opening fixtures of a season can be quite poor. This one not the case, but Okafor has been brilliant all game long, and that's going to do it. AC Milan going to start off with a win, and the board said to us this season we wanted to reach the quarterfinals of both the Champions League, the Coppa Italia, and stay in the top 4. And to do it on a small budget, all things considered, in this competitive league, that is going to be very tough to do. A lesson taught on match day 1. We are still not one of the top dogs in Italy yet. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. Well done, Xhaka. We were not odds on to be in the top 4 last season. We did it through some great form around halfway through the season. Oh, great work from Profundi. Lorenzo hears the shout of leave it, gives it back to Festi, and he should have made it 3-2. I don't know if we can do that again this year. Top 4. That is my primary goal. As Xhaka is denied by Mike as well. It's my primary goal. But I also want to try and get Udinese some silverware. They haven't won a major honour in their entire club's history. To do all of those 3 tough objectives. And again, quarter-finals of the Champions League. Very tough ask from the board with a low budget now, I must say. They expect a lot. I don't know if I can deliver on all 3 of those objectives. Maybe 1 and possibly 2. But all 3, that's going to be tough. It is going to be a loss on match day 1 though, and a tough start for Udinese this season. We'll do our best with those objectives, but I still think with 2 weeks to go for the window slam shut, we'll need to make at least 1 or 2 more signs. But that'll do it for today's episode and the season opener, guys. So big thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, if you had, then please do drop a like. Watch if you'll have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode. It's going to be a good one, man. The first Champions League group draw of the save. We'll have the final week of the transfer window and try and make at least a couple more signings, and we'll have more big games in the Serie A, aiming to bounce back on the loss on match day 1. Have a great day, much love, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.